Hey guys, so today I'm finally filming that kind of A-level / university video that I promised I would probably almost a year ago now. I think it was in like a Q&A video that I filmed. A lot of the questions were about kind of university / A-level. I said in the video I could dedicate like a whole video to discussing that kind of thing, and a lot of people said they wanted to see that. So here I am doing it a little bit late, but I mean, better late than never, right? So I'll start off like giving kind of like an educational background, if that makes sense. So GCSE year for me was 2013, so that would have been about 3 years ago now, and I did my GCSEs. My GCSEs were a mixture of like A stars, A's and B's, and there was one D in Latin, but like I didn't even want to do that GCSE, so I just don't really count it as part of my GCSE. So just between me and you, I got A stars to B. I filmed that video and that's like quite popular on my channel. It's like either my second or third like most watched video, so like you can go and watch that if you want to know like in depth what exact GCSEs I did and the grades I got and stuff. Moving on, so obviously after I did my GCSEs I did A-level, and I stayed at my school and did my A-levels at my school sixth form. At AS I did 4 subjects, which is obviously like the standard. I did English, literature, history, biology and psychology. I'm pretty sure I've mentioned the grades I got for those. It's such a weird mixture. I'll tell you what I got like that year, but I also did some retakes and like some remarks and stuff, and 2 of them completely changed. So I got an A in English literature, which didn't change at all because A is the highest you could get AS, so I didn't really do anything with that. Initially I got a B in psychology. There were 2 units for AS psychology. I retook 1 with my A2s last year, and that B went up to an A, the overall grade. History, I got a C initially, and then I asked to get it remarked and it went up by 7 marks. I don't know who was marking it first of all, but they were obviously asleep to miss out 7 marks, which is quite a lot. Like obviously it changed my whole grade. So the C went up to a B, and then biology was a C, and it just stayed at a C because I didn't bother messing around with that. I didn't think that it needed a remark or anything. In fact, I got an A in one of the units. I got an A and a D. That's why it balanced out quite badly to a C. So I got an A in one of the units, which I was like blown away by because I'm shit at biology. So that was AS. On to A2, which obviously was the year after, which was last year. So by A2, obviously most people, you drop 1 and then you stick with 3 to do your final like A-levels. And so I dropped history and did psychology, English literature and biology. Even though it doesn't make sense that I actually dropped history and kept biology because I got higher in history, but because I was applying to do psychology at university. Psychology is a science subject, so I felt like biology kind of linked more. So that's what I did, which is big mistake. You'll find out in a couple of minutes why that was a very big mistake, but yeah, can't be helped. So yeah, those are the 3 A-levels I did, and big reveal, my results that I got in A2, because I don't think I've mentioned that. So I got an A star in English literature, a B in psychology, and then boo, a D in biology. So yeah, that's where we're at now. So obviously I was pretty gutted like with those results. I feel like some people would be like, but you got an A star, which is like, yeah, I got an A star, but I also got a D. Obviously I was very happy with my A star in English. I only dropped 2 marks on the exam. The way our exam was, you write 2 essays and it's out of 30 each, and I only dropped 1 mark in each of the essays, so that was pretty good. Obviously the other 2 grades I wasn't so pleased with, especially psychology. For some reason I feel like most people would think the D in biology would bother me more. With biology I've always known that I really struggled with it, and I hate it so much, and I've just never been good at it. But with psychology, it was like I've always been quite good at it. In class I did really well, like any class tests we did, any mock exams. Generally, like, people would come up to me to ask for help. My teacher would, you know, give me really good feedback. Like, I was just generally quite good at psychology, and I feel like the exam really let me down. Not in the sense that, like, oh, it was the exam's fault, but you know what I mean? Like, yeah, the exam let me down. That felt really disappointing, because it would have been alright if I'd gotten, like, say an A star and an A, and then like the D was the only bad grade, but it felt like, I don't know, it would have seemed more just like, oh yeah, you're just not good at biology. I didn't like the grades, like the variation. I was really upset. But one good thing that did come out of it was that I decided to change course and do English literature. I'm literally so happy with that kind of epiphany, even though it came out of a bad situation. I love psychology and I love kind of psychological phenomena and like just psychological things in general, but I'm not sure psychology would have been the actual subject for me. I like psychology in the applied sense, or like I like psychological theory and like reading about Freud and reading about Jung, and like I don't know how to explain it. I've always been really interested in like mental health and madness and stuff in literature, and like the theories and the phenomena, not necessarily like the science behind it. And I feel like I would have gotten to a point if I had gone down a psychology degree route and realised that it wasn't for me, because I'm just not a science person. I'm a really discussion based person. I like talking. I kind of misplaced my interest in psychology, thinking that I wanted to study psychology, but actually I wanted to kind of apply psychology. That's why I really like English, and why I do well in it is because I had this passion for like writing about psychology, especially once you get to like A level, and obviously definitely at degree level you can kind of tailor the essays to your interests. I was brought in psychological kind of theories. I've always loved like feminist kind of psychological books, not only feminist books, but just generally psychological books. I just feel like I'm such a creep when I say this, but I love writers who suffer from mental illness because I feel like, I don't know, I love analysis. That's where I'm getting at. It's the analysis of like authors and like talking about it in a psychological way that I like. I kind of realised, I had this like aha moment where I was like, wait, actually I like psychology, but not the science of psychology. I like talking about psychology. I like Emily Dickinson and like Sylvia Plath and Virginia Woolf because they're crazy, like, analysing their texts based on their craziness. I don't like studying the chemicals that make you crazy or whatever. So I don't know, it was just really nice like realising. So yeah, that's where we're at now. And because of my grades and also my subject change, I decided to take a gap year, as most of you will know. Like I said, the subject change meant that I needed to kind of reapply. So I've already done that, but also I'm retaking a couple of exams. I'm like resitting 2 exams for biology, and then for psychology I'm just resitting one of the papers because I only did like badly in one of the papers. What did I do in my gap year? I started kind of doing like studying and revising a bit in the beginning of the academic year, so like September time. Well, actually I didn't really start in proper September, probably like November, December. You guys will know that I got that Topshop job, which was from probably like November to January, because it was, I don't want to get into this, but it was Christmas temp. Basically Topshop did me a fraud and laid me off after Christmas because I was supposedly Christmas temp even though I wasn't. Stopped that job in January, and then we're up until March now. And like in that original Q&A that I was mentioning, I talked about wanting to travel, and I'm so happy that I finally got the tickets and stuff for when I'm traveling, because it felt so daunting at the beginning of the year. I was like, I really want to travel in my gap year, but I have no idea where I'm going to go. I have no money at the time, like I hadn't gotten a job or anything. My boyfriend and I finally booked our tickets. We're doing like a little Europe thing, and it's not even technically in my gap year because I can't do it during his exam season. So we're gonna go traveling in June, the end of June, like literally 3 days after my last exam. So we're just gonna go to Greece and Italy so far. We haven't even booked our return tickets yet because we don't want to like cut off the holiday. Once you booked your return tickets, you know, like, you know, the holiday's over, but we've kind of left it open. So we booked Greece and Italy so far. So it's basically kind of like a Euro trip. If anyone knows about Interrail, we got an Interrail ticket, which is basically allows you to get trains between countries and stuff. That's my gap year essentially, and I'm definitely going to be vlogging, even though Luke's going to be really like he's really shy and he doesn't want to come on camera, guys. I'm trying to get him on camera but he's going to be on camera. He's going to have to be for my travel vlogs. But yeah, I'm going to like get to answering a couple of questions that people have asked me like for this video. So Rachel asked, what's your current long/short-term career plan or general direction? Oh, that's a good question. I love writing essays when it's what I want to write it about. At school, when you're told to write boring essays, it's like, oh, I don't want to do that. My case is literally what the fuck. My final, was it 2,000 or 3,000 like word coursework essay was one of the most like amazing essays I feel like I've written. It was a struggle to get through, but I really enjoyed the process of it, and I loved the kind of topics that I brought up in it, and I'm really proud of it because it got full marks as well. But yeah, I feel like I'd love to kind of do that. I don't really know if that's a job. Like, I feel like it's kind of like a lecturer, and I'm like, could I ever be like a lecturer? That sounds so like boring and like fancy, but in a boring way. Something about like writing, because like I said, I had this interest in discussing kind of mental health in literature, so I feel like I'd love to write essays, essays in the academic sense, by the way, literary essays on those kind of things. She also asked, what advice do you have for 15-16-year-olds who are choosing A-levels? Oh, that's a good question. That's a hard question, because I obviously didn't make the right choice. Sometimes thinking about the subjects you're good at is really important, I think, because I think with me, I was so focused on, I want to do psychology, that I didn't even really think about English as a career choice, and therefore dropped history, which now that I'm doing English would have paired up better, and I was better at anyway. I wasn't amazing at history. I didn't like love it, but I definitely feel like I would have done better in history. Naturally, like I'm just quite good at writing essays, and like I'm stronger in that kind of subject. I feel like we all have natural talent. I'm not saying that I couldn't get an A star or whatever if I wanted to, if I really put my effort into it, or biology, but ultimately you don't want to always do a subject where you're having to force yourself to do really well at. Like, obviously challenge yourself, but I feel like sometimes go with your natural talents, because that's what you'll be naturally best at. You'll excel in them just because you already have that natural kind of, you tend to like subjects that you're good at anyway because it comes easier to you, and you end up enjoying working hard for it. So I feel like choose the subjects that you like and that you feel like you can do well in, if that makes sense. Rosanna, who I actually know, she went to my school. Hi Rosanna, if you're watching. Asked, what are you doing in your gap year? But I guess I kind of explained that in the beginning of the video, so yeah. So the rest of the questions come from Raja Brown. The first one is A2 results, which I've already said. What course are you planning to do at uni, which I've also already said. So English literature now. And what are your A-level choices? Do you regret choosing any, and how did you cope with workload? I feel like I've already answered these. I feel like really bad. I didn't plan this properly. I should have like answered the questions first and then talked about my own thing, but I felt like I was doing like a quick summary and then going on to answer the questions, but now I've like already answered the questions now because of my quick summary. Yeah, do you regret choosing any? So I guess I did touch on that, which was obviously definitely biology, just because like I was saying, I feel like it was more about because I wanted it to link to psychology, which I didn't end up doing anyway, so I definitely regret it because I feel like now it's almost a pointless subject and I'm not good at it, and I got a shit grade in it, and it's going to be hard to get that shit grade up to a good grade. So definitely regrets there. I feel like it was the transitioning from AS to A2 which was the bigger regret, because even if I chose an AS it wouldn't have been that big a deal, like just having it as a bad grade at AS, and like obviously a C is better than a D anyway, so it's the fact that I actually worsened from AS to A2 by making that bad choice, because I definitely, like if I'd kind of decided I was going to do English earlier, I definitely would have chosen history. I'm not saying history is easy at all. History is very hard A-level. I know that this year even they said it was quite difficult, but I feel like I definitely would have done better than in biology. Like, I don't know, like I was saying, I'm just an essay, writey, ready kind of person. I find history really, really fascinating, and like I was talking about before, the fascination for a subject tend to make you do better in it because you want to study it and you want to revise it. Even though history is difficult in the skill of it, I feel like I always like enjoy the content of it. I really like love learning about history, and that would have spurred me to kind of study it, and also just generally the technique of a history A-level I feel like I would have grasped and done better at than biology. So that's my regret there. Coping with the workload, I guess I haven't touched on, which to be honest I'm not the best person to ask because I'm not great under stress. Like honestly I'm really not. If we're talking about learning from my mistakes, is not leaving everything till last minute, not letting the stress get to you too much. Like kind of, I feel like I'm really bad at accepting, okay, this is difficult, I need to do this, I need to sit down and do it even though I don't like it, I don't want to. I'm really bad at doing that, and kind of it gets too late and I'm like, shit, I need to really do this, and then it's really stressful. Yeah, coping with the workload, you need to have like a kind of plan set in motion and like figure out, I think I talked about this in the Q&A, figure out a method of revision that works for you. I did do that really well for my retake for AS, because obviously going up from a C to an A is pretty good. I think so anyway. So I really hope you enjoyed this video. I really hope it did help some of you, and yeah, if anyone's like got exams coming up, good luck in those. I know I'm definitely gonna need it. Let me know of any videos you want to see and stuff like that, whether it's going to be related to school like this kind of video is, or just any other videos related to my usual content. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe if you're new, and yeah, I'll see you in my next video. Thanks for watching. Bye. Do a pose, like a really hot one. That one? No, I said a really hot one.